Okay, here's a wild thought. What if losing everything you owned could actually be the best thing that ever happened to you? It sounds completely nuts, I know, but that is the exact real life experience of influencer Margarita Nazarenko. She managed to turn a truly devastating robbery into a complete life reset. And her story, well, it reveals this powerful philosophy for finding strength when disaster strikes. So let's dive into her journey and the incredible mindset that came out of it.
Right? This is the quote that makes you stop and go, wait, what? When Margarita Nazarenko's home was completely emptied out by thieves, her reaction wasn't what anyone would expect. Instead of devastation, she felt gratitude. How on earth is that even possible? And maybe more importantly, how can we learn to find that same kind of strength in our own lives?
To even begin to understand her surprising reaction, we have to go back to the moment that changed absolutely everything, what she now calls her unwanted fresh start. I want you to just imagine this for a second. You leave your house for 45 minutes, just 45 minutes, and you come back to find it completely empty. Everything you've spent 30 years collecting, gone. And that's exactly what happened to her. We're talking sentimental things like her grandmother's rings just vanished, along with all her everyday stuff. Now, the normal, expected reaction here would be, trauma, feeling violated, and just deep, deep grief over everything you've lost. But her actual reaction was something else entirely. She felt this huge wave of gratitude that she and her kids were safe, and then this surprising sense of newness, almost like a relief at being free from all her material things. She found this phrase online, and it just perfectly captures the mindset that let her process this event in such a unique way. It's not about pretending bad things don't happen. No, it's about consuming them, digesting them, and using them as fuel to move forward even stronger. This idea is really the heart of the whole philosophy she built after the robbery. And she calls this philosophy the unbothered mindset. Now, what's so crucial here is that she doesn't present this as some superpower she was born with. She frames it as a skill, something that you, me, anyone can actually learn and practice. It's kind of a modern take on some really old ideas. It echoes things like Stoicism and the psychological practice of cognitive reframing. So, what does unbothered really mean in her book? It's all about being deeply calm and rooted in yourself. It means gracefully letting go of the things you just can't control so you can face challenges with a sense of peace instead of panic. It's really the practice of creating a space between what happens to you and how you choose to respond to it. And it is so important to get clear on what being unbothered is not. It's not about being cold or apathetic. It's not about bottling up your emotions. You can still feel pain. You can still cry. The difference is that you're calm, you're rooted in what truly matters, and you're practicing the art of letting go. It's all about resilience, not repression. To show just how useless it is to hold on to things, she tells this story about a lost bracelet. It was an expensive, very meaningful gift, and she spent weeks, literally weeks, just agonizing over it, replaying every single moment in her head. And this just shows you the real cost of that kind of attachment. For 2 entire weeks, she was just consumed by worry, stress, and grief over this one object. But all of that thinking and rethinking, it never brought the bracelet back. It was just wasted emotional energy. And that experience taught her a huge lesson about detachment that she would later apply after the robbery. Okay, so how do you actually build this mindset for yourself and create your own fresh start after a setback? Well, Nazarenko lays it all out in a 6-step guide. Here they are, the 6 steps. First, don't fight reality. Second, detach from the old story. Third, create a symbolic reset. Fourth, rebuild small. Fifth, shift to gratitude. And finally, number 6, choose to be unbothered. Let's break each of those down. So, step 1 is all about radical acceptance. Instead of asking that why me question, which immediately puts you in the victim's seat, you just accept that what happened, happened. The only question that really matters now is, okay, so what am I going to do about it? This acceptance is the solid ground you need to start rebuilding. I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? It really highlights the power of choice you have in that moment. A setback can be the end of the story, or it can be the moment you decide to rebuild, even stronger than before. The power isn't in what happened, it's in your decision about what it's going to mean. All right, once you've accepted reality, you have to consciously detach from the old story. Your identity is not the person who got robbed or the person who failed. And to really make that mental break real, you move to step 3. You create a symbolic reset, a ritual, something physical that marks the beginning of your new chapter.
And look, this doesn't have to be some huge, complicated thing. It could be as simple as decluttering your entire apartment, or buying a brand new journal just for this new beginning, or setting a powerful new mantra for yourself. The act itself is what sends a signal to your brain that, hey, we are starting over. So, after that reset, it's time to rebuild. But you start small. You don't need some massive life overhaul overnight. Just layer on 1 or 2 new key habits. These small, consistent actions are what build momentum. And you fuel that momentum with step 5, a conscious, deliberate shift to gratitude. This literally rewires your brain to start seeing opportunities instead of just the loss. A really practical exercise she suggests is to end every single day by writing down 3 things you are genuinely grateful for and 1 thing you are excited to create or do tomorrow. This simple little act grounds you in what's good right now and points your energy toward a future that you're actively building. Okay, I know this sounds a little out there, but the point is so powerful. You have to create a vision for your future that is so compelling, so exciting, that it becomes more real to you than the pain of your past. Nazarenko's point is that our brains respond to the stories we tell them, so why not choose to believe in a blessed, lucky, amazing future? And finally, all of those previous steps lead up to this, a daily choice. Being unbothered isn't a destination you arrive at, it's an active state. It's the constant practice of mixing that gratitude from step 5 with the graceful detachment from step 2. It's that inner certainty that no matter what life throws at you, you've got the tools to handle it.
So, the core message in all of this is that you are holding the pen. After a major setback, you have the incredible power to decide how your story is going to continue.
You know, life is going to knock all of us down at some point. That's pretty much a guarantee. The real defining factor, the source of true strength, isn't having a perfect, problem-free life. It's in the beauty and the grace with which we can choose to reset, to restart, and to rise again. And this, for me, is maybe the most empowering takeaway of all. Maybe things don't happen for a reason, but if you choose to assign a powerful, positive reason to what happened, if you decide it made you stronger or wiser or freer, then for you, it did. You get to create the meaning. And that brings us to the final question for you to think about. Think about a setback, a loss, or a hurt from your own life. Using this framework, what is one way you could start to reframe that story, not as an ending, but as the unwanted fresh start you never even knew you needed?